Back, boo, boo, back, 'cause we're back in Bloody Bongo. Boo, 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 back, yes, we're back in Bloody Bongo. Boo, boo, back, 'cause we're back in Bloody Bongo. Boo, boo, back, yes, we're back in Bloody Bongo. Boo, boo, back, 'cause we're back in Bloody Bongo. Boo, boo, back, yes, we're back in Bloody Bongo. I want you to hold it between your bongo knees.
Yeah, that's right. What I like about the bongo, back in bongo, is there's no shtick, right? Although we do have a butler who brings us the comics if we want him to, but he's on holiday today, and the spider's gone. So it really just is us talking about bongo comics, which is an absolute delight.
It is back to basics.
Back to bongo, back in bongo.
I want you to hold it between your bongo knees.
So we have Simpsons comic number 5, once again drawn by S. Vance. Did you see that
Yeah, that's
comic?
crazy.
That Steve Vance had a comic based on the Statman?
It is very, very strange. Just another example of everything fitting, everything piecing together the way it should, more than anything.
Absolutely, more than anything. So we're on
More-
Simpsons comic number 5. Do you know when that one came out?
If I had to hazard a guess, I would say 2000 or 1999, because I remember it.
What month would you say?
July 1994.
So your guess is around the year 2000, by which you mean July of 1994.
Yeah, that's crazy. It shouldn't be though, 'cause I'm pretty sure every time we come to the bongos, I make that same mistake.
Well, you do, because they only started a couple of years after The Simpsons. I mean, in this case, it's 4 years right after The Simpsons. But what is it? Was it monthly to start with? So we're like still in the first half of that
Yeah,
that
this
first
is
year of the 2 decades they eventually went on for.
yeah, and they must have started re-releasing stuff because I remember having this, but I would not have had it in 1994. But I doubt that you or Kieran would have bought it in
Possible.
1994.
It's absolutely possible that I would have bought it, and it's even possible that Kieran would have bought especially the American version, not the larger
Well,
English
yeah,
version.
that's what I mean. I'm thinking of like the large English version.
Oh no. But anyway, so we've got an iconic cover. I was having a look. I seem to think Hulk number 1, but Hulk number 1 is just the Hulk walking. There's no atomic kind of mushroom cloud behind. And so you've got this is part 2 of a 3-parter, which we will not be reading part 1 or 3 in this round. And would you like to describe the cover for us?
Yes, I'm just grabbing my microphone. So why don't you?
I'll just pause. So you ready?
Jesus Christ, it's freezing.
Back and bongo.
Jesus
It is a bit.
H. Christ.
It is a bit cold. Back and bone. Back and bone. Back and bongo. Back and bone. Back and bone. Back and bongo. Back and bone. And bone. Back and bongo. Bone.
What was
Bone.
that?
Back and bongo. How would you describe the cover of this Simpsons comic?
I would describe it as cinematic, but in a comic book way. It is the Simpson family with the very popular 90s character Bartman and the subsequently less popular Itchy and Scratchy, but popular enough for their own comic. And I have a feeling, slash, I'm making an educated guess, that this is like an extended cover across the 3 issues because you can see quite clearly Grandpa.
No, I think it's a wraparound on this particular issue. So I think if we go right to the back,
Oh.
we'll see Grandpa, Miles' house, Sideshow Mel falling over being trampled by Krusty, and Edna Pemming and skemming her way all the way to Jamaica, while Mr. C. Montgomery Burns in his helicopter has his homosexual assistant hanging off a ladder. So
Exactly.
that's a back cover. It's pretty cool as a wraparound, but my only kind of problem with these is that orange kind of, just for a cover, you sort of want a bit more going on than just a basic orange background. It's a bit of a I remember reading about Rob Liefeld at some point started phoning it in, and basically he would sketch out a couple of legs and arms, and then
Yeah.
they just color the entire back like just blue or whatever. Might have been Frank Miller, might have been someone else, but someone did it.
Yeah, I can see that after a while, but maybe not 5 issues in.
Maybe not the
Um,
cover.
maybe it's supposed to design an air of mystery because there's absolutely nothing to explain what
Why you
looks like
should buy this comic.
quite a significant nuclear attack or
Absolutely.
detonation. So it's and also why are Itchy and Scratchy there? However, if you were an avid Bongo fan, you would have already purchased Itchy and Scratchy Comics issue 1, in which this story begins, I believe, by having them come out of the television into
Ah,
the Simpsons realm, which they've actually never done on the show. They've had Bart and Lisa go into Itchy and Scratchy in A Trace of Horror,
yeah.
but they've never had it. They've never done it this way round in the show, which is kind of strange that none of them have ever met Itchy or Scratchy as characters. They've
It's
always remained cartoon characters in the show.
sort of strange that they didn't do it at least in like a dream logic.
Yeah, they've definitely done Trace of Horror stuff, but they've never done a Trace of Horror or a sort of one of those kind of episodes that they do that isn't canon.
Well,
But anyway, let's probably move on from the cover.
it took them 5 months to dig to hit rock bottom where they had to make Itchy and Scratchy into the real world, and it was happening in the very first issue of INS. So here we have a splash panel on the very first page, and it tells us that it's when bongos collide. 5 minutes ago, Itchy and Scratchy, those lovable cartoons, materialized out of the Simpsons TV set. Itchy and Scratchy tore up the room, smashed a hole in the wall. Try telling that to Homer and Marge. Of course, they don't believe that. They think the boy has done it. Homer's raging, "Boy, what have you done, boy?" And Peanut Head Marge's like, "Oh no," because there's like a itching, scratchy shaped stain on the carpet. And Bart, all he can do is say, "Ay caramba." And it was
Very
Itchy and Scratchy
quietly.
3, not 1.
Oh, wow, they did 2 whole issues before pumping this out. It's a good comic idea, to be fair. It is one of the first things you would think of creating a Simpsons comic, especially if you also signed up to do, for some reason, an Itchy and Scratchy comic and a Radioactive Man comic at the same time.
Yes, it does lend itself to at least some comic book crossover, but usually they wait till issue 4 to bring Spider-Man in. That's the trope. Every new Marvel comic brings Spider-Man in issue 4 because clearly you get a little bit of grace in those first 3 issues, and 4 is where it starts to bomb. So they bring in the Spider-Man or the Punisher or,
Yes,
the Hulk
Super
or
Hulk.
Daredevil.
It's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's so far we will at some point in the very distant future get to a Futurama version of this that they do, which I remember very much enjoying.
Oh yeah, a version of
Um,
what? The Simpsons comic?
yes, like a Simpsons comic Futurama crossover
Ah,
event. But it takes so much. Futurama doesn't exist for another like 6 years, so we're a while away from that. I like Maggie. There's something cool about the Maggie. I think.
they're hanging off the light shade.
Yeah, I think those are itchy and scratchy shaped roof holes
Ah,
because there
that
seems to be
makes
some
sense.
kind of shading over
Maggie.
Bartley's and Maggie that would say
Yeah,
it was light entering the room.
indeed.
I do like this is a nice comic thing that I enjoy is that you can get volume across by text size.
Ah, yes. And
And that sort
exclamation
of
marks.
yeah, and that jaggedy speech bubble implies anger.
Yes.
It's good. It's a good way to start an issue. You're straight into the action because you haven't read the first half of the story.
But they're smart enough to make it so you don't have to. There's no way at this point in the Simpsons lifespan of these comics that they're like, oh no, if somebody reads this comic and they haven't read it since Scratchy 3, they're going to be totally lost.
Exactly, and I do like that it says at the bottom that it is from Itchy and Scratchy 3, and we're on first name terms with Steve and Cindy Vance.
We certainly are. S. Vance, Bill Morrison's doing the finished art, and Cindy's doing the colors. It's a little bit of nuclear regulating by Matt Groening, and he does say down here that it's at this point is being published twice a year, and this is clearly a reprint because as you can see down here, it says 1999 Avenues of the Stars, unless of course that is the address, which it almost certainly is. So forget that.
Perhaps what happened is they released them fairly infrequently
Mm.
in America for
Yeah.
like 5 years. So there was only like 10 issues released. And then they brought it over to England and started doing them monthly. Because I don't think there's a time delay between England and America receiving these Simpsons comics. In
Well,
the
no,
sense that, like, oh, this was released in 1994 in America and 1999 in England.
no, that's not. Those have been the big English reprints that they would have done, and they put more pages in so they can catch up at some point.
Exactly.
Anyway, do you want to do this page?
EERs.
Text heavy as always with the bongo.
Let's do it. It then says one hasty explanation later, and there are roof holes in the wall instead of the roof. And inside, even though it's just said one hasty explanation later, we are getting that explanation now. So then Itchy and Scratchy crashed through the wall and ran off down the street, says presumably Bart. Bart, you can't honestly expect us to believe that, says presumably Marge. It's near impossible. It was Marge. Your mother's right, boy, says Homer with his big fat pointing finger. You violated a sacred trust by damaging your family home for which you must die. Which is, I
My
don't know
goodness.
what that must be something. Look on the bright side, Homer. At least the TV came through unscathed. Comedy gold.
Comedy.
Homer then says, "Oh, he's got a point there, Marge." Marge, angry, says, "Homer, Bart, this is serious. Until we can think of a suitable punishment, you're grounded." Cut to Bart in his bedroom, hearing the rest of Marge's thing via narration. That means you don't get to go see Krusty the Clown perform at the nuclear power plant this afternoon. Go to your room. Set up. Then we see Bart reading Radioactive Man comic. Even the latest instant classic adventure of Radioactive Man can't take my mind off the fact that I'm missing the corporate sponsored event of the year, entertainment event of the year. Then there is a visual knock at the door. It's Lisa. Sorry, Mom grounded you, Bart, because she obviously knows that it was real. I tried to tell her what really happened, but she thinks I'm just being my usual noble self by sticking up for you. Bart groans. Well, at least Mr. Flanders is sure to be there with his video camera at the power plant. Maybe you can watch the tape later. Oh man, having to go to Flanders' house to watch Krusty. How low can I sink? Says Bart, obviously
Indeed.
not understanding the gift he is being given.
No.
Some good stuff.
Maximum Cardage. That's a Spider-Man reference there. Not
Ah,
really sure why the card thing is, but anyway, Maximum Cardage. And he's reading a. I wish they'd designed that Radioactive Man cover a bit better. It's a bit dodgy, but yeah,
what's
exposition heavy.
what is strange is that they had a Radioactive Man comic, so they could have easily used the actual cover.
Yeah.
Because spoilers, part 3 is in the Radioactive Man comic, and it involves Bart going into that comic. So again, it's like a not two different universes situation.
Oh yeah,
Naughty.
very naughty.
Where Bart in this fictional comic world enters a world that he believes is a fictional comic world.
But we know he's just one fictional comic world down.
Yeah, but that was just a nothing really stood out artwork wise here, and I have a big question to pose at the end of this next page.
Fair enough. So then we get on to Bart, who's sighing at his window as Marge drives Lisa off. And everyone's at the power plant. This means just one thing. The Berg's wide open. This Berg's wide open for... And the door swings open. And he has a full cupboard full of Brand X spray paint. And he says El Barto, which as we know is Bart's graffiti pseudonym. Cut.
Bongo Heavy, pseudonym as well. I don't really remember much of El Barto past like season 1 or 2 of the show, but I feel like he's a big Simpsons Bongo character.
There's low-hanging
Oh.
fruit, isn't it?
Yeah, you can easily as well when, it's still imagery. Well, they could just do it on the show as well, but you can just throw in some El Bartos anywhere you want, can't you?
You certainly can. So we cut to a scene we have very much seen before, which is the Flanders family at the nuclear power plant, and Ned's got his camera on, and we see his wife and his grey-haired child. She is looking dotingly at Ned as he fondles his camcorder. Silly me, I guess I haven't got the hang of this new camcorder. I forgot to flip the old standby switcheroo. Stand over there with your mom, kids. I want to get a shot of you in front of the stage, Rooney. And again, yes, as we well know, they're stood in front of the Yo Nukes Comedy Jam sign.
Is that a
And
reference to something? Yo, you
oh no.
seems like it is, like a play on words. So we did cover this then. I have no I feel like I was saving it for our last ever bongo,
No,
Lord Bongo.
I don't. I very much remember this being covered.
Oh, good. So I then came to it and thought I couldn't remember I saved it for so long that I forgot to ever include it.
Look at those little toddy eyes.
Tiny Toddy skimming all over the place. It's like nothing's changed. We're back to what we know. This woman.
This woman.
Yeah, it's an odd way to go, and I thought this was also like a parody of something like the being filmed situation, but there's found footage is yet to exist as a genre, so I don't know what the whole because spoilers you see things through the camera.
Hmm.
Like we see it being recorded as if it's like a live event. Maybe it plays. I can't
I
remember the
think this
story.
is
So
already a sitcom trope of people using video cameras.
yes, it's also very Flandersy. Like they picked the right family to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love how tall and proud she's standing in front of that Yo Nukes comedy jam.
Yeah, but I mean, the only thing I think of Your Nukes is that obviously No Nukes is a
Sure,
phrase.
that I think that's probably about the credit we should give them.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
nuke the whales. You got to nuke something. Yeah, just tropey. I don't understand that it's happened a couple of times, but why Rod has grey hair? Maybe there was some kind of maybe they didn't have access to the specific colour of hair Rod has. But
Brown,
yeah, it's an odd
the
red.
same, literally the same color as Ned's.
No, do you remember Rod from the podcast?
Sure.
Red hair.
So what happens next? What else do we get to see through this camcorder lens?
Yes, now we're in lens view, and it is Ned recording the town. It is a POV shot of his wife, the first one, with some freezing cold hands. Ned says, "That's a dandy picture. Now I'll just pan over the crowd," and he does. Gee willikers, which is a strange thing to say. It looks like every ding-dang-doodly body in Springfield is here. And with this zoom lens, I can see clear to the back of the crowd, where you can see a good selection of characters, including the eye of Lunch Lady Doris, which is a fun one.
And
And
who's
gosh,
this little guy, face forward Prince?
yes, an FFP. Carl's forehead. And gosh, Arooties.
Can
They're
I
really
stop you
going
for a
for it.
second because I think we got I think the Lenny back here is our first Bongo casualty.
Yes, it's good. He's got like a fat little mouth for some reason.
He's got very, very sleepy eyes as well. And the
I am a
single
fan of
eye of LLD.
I'm a fan of the distant look of Marge in that as well. Like she's sort of looking directly at the camera, but from really, really far away.
Indeed.
Then it cuts still in the video lens, and gosha rooties if it isn't the Simpsons family doodly. They're really pushing the
The doodles.
Nedisms. Neither of them look like they're within this realm of consciousness. They both look like they're considering they're at a comedy show. I know it's not started yet; they're just sort of waiting around, but
You don't laugh before it starts.
no.
Save your laughs, don't you?
You keep your faces still to save the energy. And then Ned shouts to now we're out of video cam frame, back into just comic frame.
Yeah.
Hi dilly ho neighbour, No, not just neighbour. Shouts Ned from the front of the crowd. Stupid Flanders, how come he gets to be right up front? Says angry, angry Homer. Even though there isn't anything stopping them from going to the front. Maybe he didn't waste half an hour haggling with that bootleg t-shirt vendor, says Marge, who is looking directly at the audience with one eye. Then Homer says, Marge, it's like that thing in The Shining of Nicholson, where he looks at the camera all the way through it. Have you seen that?
I've seen that he does that, and they were trying to make it say like, is this like a subliminal thing that Kubrick added, or is it just that Nicholson keeps sneaking in
Yeah.
cheeky glances at the camera?
I think both. And then Homer is a good sort of weird low angle Homer. Marge, this isn't just a t-shirt, it's a pop culture artifact. After today, we'll store it away, and maybe someday this mint condition collectible will help pay for little Lisa's college education. And Homer is wearing a poorly made, amazing bootleg t-shirt that says Krusty Spigfield 1994. And
It
the
is.
Krusty is really badly designed.
I reckon you can get that t-shirt?
I doubt it, but it can be made.
Certainly can. No, not as far as I can see.
It'd be a very, very niche piece of merchandise.
That's where we're at in the lives of the Summers. Sure, at this point, that's where we're at.
True, it probably does exist somewhere and someone has had it made for themselves.
Yeah.
And it certainly will in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then Marge says, I think it might have been wiser to put that $20 in the company savings plan. But, and then Lisa, no one asked, with just her eyes visible, interrupts her mother, shouting, "Look, the show's starting,"
Hook dot
which they
dot
would have figured
dash
out
dash.
themselves.
They would, and I do like the detail here of Homer's t-shirt is already ripping in
Yes,
random
that is good.
places.
And yeah, a bit of that laziness you discussed in the cover going on this page, and there's absolutely no backgrounds to any of these panels, I don't think.
Now a
They all
little bit of
just
a
colours.
heartstring for a fence. This one's got some background, the camcorder one, but yeah, generally as soon as they could ditch it, like the bottom two panels on the page, it's like yeah, no one's looking that far down. So far, so good. A
Mhm.
setup, we're setting it up where I kind of wonder what El Barto would do, and also we know that Itchy and Scratchy are on the run somewhere.
Yes,
Anyway,
they are.
it's our favorite.
This is,
Continuing.
as you before you speak on this, this is probably the biggest highlight for Bongo, is that the use of Troy and Lionel whenever they want to, and Bob.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's an absolute classic. It's like death holds no sway over comic books. We know that.
No,
Good,
Andy is still alive.
that's even better. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Troy McClure. You probably remember me from such film as Three Men and a Nuke and the smash hit instructional video Kiss Your Butt Goodbye, Post Meltdown Emergency Procedures, Nuclear War. It's a motherfucker.
Exactly.
Before we start, everyone gives him a clap. He points up to the glass building hosting what we think is the shadow of Burns and his mate, but I think it's going to be revealed to be Itchy and Scratchy, which I already know it's not because I can see the next panel. But
Yes.
I wish it had been. Anyway, he points out, let's start the show. Let's have a big hand for our sponsors. Montgomery Burns, Richard Hyperloy Smithers. Get the names of those who fail to applaud and see their electricity rates are raised immediately. Send in the clown with a K. John 1155. Is that a comedy reference?
Does it say John or Jonah?
I think it says John. There's a biblical reference, isn't, but I don't think that's the correct number. So I'm not sure if
A
if there's some
reason.
joke I'm missing there. But anyway, they say here's the guy you've been waiting for. So was there any reason for Burns to be? Is this just padding at this point? We brought in
I,
McClure and Burns and Krusty all within 4 panels of this
yeah,
page.
I do think I think they're setting up the fact that everybody's spoilers going to get superpowers, so they want to ensure that you display what characters beforehand, so you can come back to them afterwards, and you don't have to try and like put an explanation in then like, oh, I was round the corner.
All right, so
Just bang them all in now, and then if we need to use any of them later, they were there.
yeah, that's the kind of that's the kind of low hanging fruit I expect Bongo to go for. But anyway, he
Some
says,
of them,
yeah,
some of them even get to be in that page before in the crowd and then not get a superpower, which is really
right.
rude.
That's
Especially
that
the
rude.
one that's Mountain Ed.
They might have gone home. Now here's the guy you've all been waiting for. The clown about town, Krusty, and they're all whooping, etc. And McClure offers a prize and he says it's an honor to present you and Channel 6 with the award for being Springfield's most wasteful energy users. Those air-conditioned parking garages of yours really clinched it. I'm happy to be here, Troy, especially as that judge that ruled the show would count towards my community service time. Ha ha ha. Hey kids, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the nuclear power plant today. Scree crash, yeah. And he says, what the? Is what all the kids.
It is great crusty face in that last one. Again, we're back to we don't need a
Back in
background to
Bongo.
convey
Yeah,
what we are showing.
absolutely not. So anyway, the
There's not
setup's
it's
well on the way now.
it's a good page of people who aren't the Simpsons as well, actually. It's a full page of characters who are not the Simpson family.
Yeah, and big hitters, right? Krusty McClure, etc.
Yeah, I can't think of a time where Krusty, Burns, and McClure have ever interacted, so it's a fun treat. Then we move on to Itchy. Itchy is now driving the school bus, which is also it also doubles as the retirement castle bus. He has run over Apu, who somehow has got the head of Jebediah Springfield stuck on him in an attempt to murder the cat that he always tries to murder, Scratchy.
Yeah.
Mel is under the bus. Mel's about to die, and Krusty is at the front of it. Looks like this bus is heading right for the front of the stage. Krusty screams "Aye!" Scratchy screams "Ah!" Apu, in a
Don't do the voice.
whatever voice you want to hear in your head, says, "I must demand compensation for the defilement of my sign." Oh, he has also hit the Quickie Mart sign.
Oh yeah.
And Itchy is just laughing and having a great time. All of this happening on a background of green. Just green.
disagree with all the stick
So
lines and everything.
we are left to guess that this is happening at the front of based on the Krusty placement, the front of the event. The entire town, as Ned has said, literally everybody who's ever lived in Springfield is here, except for Bart Simpson.
Exactly. So
Now,
we get the
Otto,
yes.
oh, please do go on.
No, it's your turn.
Otto is clinging to the back of the bus. Whoa, nice move, clown dude, he says as Krusty jumps to safety, looking all over the place. There is a splang of the microphone being crushed under the wheel of the school bus, which would have happened to Krusty the Clown had he not jumped. And then Milhouse and Martin, who've all had their teeth removed, with excitement say, wow, the commercials didn't say that Itchy and Scratchy would be here. And Martin says their costumes are surprisingly realistic, not knowing that they are in fact real.
The real ones. How does that even
Real
work?
ones.
What are they made from? They're made from real flesh and blood now,
Possibly, yeah, but it does not mouse and cat flesh.
like human flesh.
Possibly Simpson flesh.
So anyway, Itchy is the mouse, right?
That is right.
He slams the buzz into a wall of speakers. Indian man whose head hits the ground with a splunk. We
I
are
forgot
left.
he's dead.
We are just left to guess whether or not he survived. And the cat seems to have jumped onto top of the speakers, and Burns is not having any of this. He's shaking his hand. The cat and mouse freak show wasn't in the contract, you blasted merry Andrew. You'll not get an extra penny for it. And the old timers, Jasper and Grandpa and so on, jump out of the back of the buzz, the crashed buzz. Grandpa's saying, I need me pillows. I thought I saw a giant blue rat driving the buzz.
Jasper is legging it.
Yes.
Jasper's absolutely bolting it out of there.
Yeah, he's still second or third to Mrs. Grimsdale.
Yes, and yes, just an old woman in a beach dress.
Yeah, Krusty's thinking they're not part of my act, those you crazy old coot, the Steens sealers. And again, just in case we don't get the joke, he also says pretty good costume though. And
Yes, he too does not believe it.
he can't believe his own Simpsons eyes. And Itchy is now continuing to chase Scratchy, who's now got his head wrapped in the wheel of the steering wheel of the car, which is a fun shot. Oh, Burns came through for once. This is a great show. It's the classic comic book where they think it's a show, but actually it's just something going horrifically wrong. A trope that the Beano and Whistler and Chips would have used on 7 or 8 pages of every single issue. And
Yes, the twist ending of everything working out nicely. However, this twist ending comes 4 pages in, or whatever.
Indeed. So they're cheering, hooray for Mr. Burns. Lenny and Carl are, giving big props to Mr. Burns for sorting this stuff out. Hooray for Mr. Burns. They all shout, Burns, Burns, Burns. I'm assuming that they're talking about the man and not the injury. And
I was
then
saying Burns.
we get an absolutely great, one of our first top shelf bongos of a face forwards Charles Montgomery Burns saying, listen to them, Smithers, in that throng of reedy voices lifted in the praise of our beloved employer.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Burnsy. The Krusty next to it is also quite good. I like the Krusty with this wonky face.
He's camming and scamming, isn't he?
Yeah, just taking in what the hell's going on around him.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a fun one. Not a great deal to say. That Burns is great, and I do enjoy. Never really paid much attention to Itchy and Scratchy, but the commitment and joy that Itchy has so far throughout this has been very nice to see. Like, just looks so happy on that panel where he's chasing that cat with a spiky weapon.
So as we move on, did you just do that page or did I? I just did it, right? So it's you.
Indeed. Now we are in the Burns surveillance room where you could see Morty and ice cream that time, and Smithers is looking at a big screen. In spite of my contempt for them, says Burns off panel, their mindless adulation warms my heart. So he's quite a fan. Then Smithers, kissing ass, just says, anything that warms your heart warms my heart too, sir. But then thinks, I hate to rain on this precocious ray of sunshine, but I must. And on the cameras you can see Itchy chasing Scratchy directly to a room that says reactor core on it.
With the door
which
open.
cannot be good. With an open door, yes. Smithers then continues to explain to his boss, Sir, I've been tracking those 2 rather irresponsible cartoon characters, very calm, since they entered the plant. They may pose a danger. I have your escape vehicle prepared. Evacuate in my moment of triumph, says Burns. I think you overestimate their destructive capabilities. And then there is a kersplang noise, and Burns, in a Scooby-Doo fashion, jumps into Smithers' arms. What in the name of Malthus is that? Malthus being probably someone from the 1920s. It doesn't sound good, sir, says Smithers. We'd better check the video monitors, which they were already doing. Oh dear, as much as I would like to savour this moment, because Burns is clinging to him, I'm afraid we'll have to move quickly, sir. And then he's cut off by the end of the page. Once again, no backgrounds other than one with... The first one's pretty good, actually. The cameras are good. Then you get a Burnsy looking out at the crowd, and then the rest of it is backgroundless. I repeat.
Yeah. They managed to like even minimize that though, to be honest.
Yeah, there could have been some good sight gags in there,
Yeah.
but there weren't.
Do you feel, I think we've talked about this before, do you feel as later bongos progressed that they started taking a bit more advantage of that, or did they get even more lazy?
I am not sure. I just know that the artwork gets a lot more abstract.
Idiosyncratic.
Exactly. But in terms of that thing that you just said, I don't know. I don't know what. I'd probably not, because you get to a point where you don't have to. You probably all computerized.
Oh, you reckon? I'd be interested to see at what point they do actually go CGI, if at all.
Aye.
Anyway, see a very fun image of Itchy in kind of a nuclear hazmat suit or whatever they're called, and he's got Scratchy's tongue wrapped around several animate carbon tods, and Smithers and Burns are looking on. Smithers says they've broken through the containment dome, and that is a good Itchy and Scratchy image.
I like the Smithers as well. I think the Smithers is really fun.
Got to face sideways Smithers, haven't we? They've taken a bit of care over those shadows on the nose and
Yeah,
face.
looks like he's missing something. Oh yeah, he's missing eyebrows. That's what it is.
Ah, there you go. Does he not have eyebrows?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Big ones, big ones. And so Smithers grabs the lever. The manual override is locked out, sir. The core is reaching critical mass. Quickly, Smithers, to the escape autogyro. And so they get in his little go-kart and they drive all the way to his helicopter. This is all the fault of that blasted clown. I'll sue his survivors for every last dime of his estate. And upsy daisies, Smithers gives him a lift up into the helicopter. And of course, you'd expect him to slam the door and fly away, which of course
great.
he does.
Great aerial shot of them walking. I enjoy that very much so. There's something quite satisfying about the top of Smithers' head being so it looks like a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Certainly does.
And yeah, the added upsy daisy so is quite cute.
Thank
I
you.
like that. I do like it when Smithers treats Burns like a 4-year-old. And then yes, unexpectedly, slam, click, lock, the door's shut. Wait, sir, what about me? Says a panicked Smithers. Oh, I am sorry, Smithers. My engineers seem to have neglected to provide accommodation for you. I'll gladly cling to the landing skid, sir. Burns considers it. Very well, but your weight unbalances the craft and makes me queasy. You'll have to drop off. I wouldn't have it any other way, sir. And then the chopper takes off, and Smithers is thinking, I only hope we're in time. Quite happy to let this town die.
Oh yeah, absolutely no remorse or
Not,
regret there at all.
not asked. I mean, our has snuck out to do some graffitiing, as he planned earlier, and he is thinking, man, this is like shooting fish in a barrel. But somehow it's not quite the same thrill without the possibility of getting caught, as he bartoes all over town, because everybody else is at this event. And then a blinding light. Hey, what's the... As Bart continues to graffiti. I like that graffiti line in the shadow. I think that's quite cool.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, something very bright is clearly happening somewhere.
And we get Bachoomfa. Great sound. And we see he's tagged everywhere, Alberto. Left, right, and center. Whoa, mama. Either Krusty's putting on the biggest fireworks display in history, or this is a job for... And he changes into the costume of the Bartman as essentially a mushroom cloud emerges from South Springfield. Does the Bartman appear very much in the Simpsons show? And the comic, it's not a Bartman, it's Radioactive Man's sidekick, isn't he?
No, Batman is just his own independent thing, but I feel like he is way more comic based because they were just going for Batman. Bart can be a superhero in his comic series, but he's not really got any powers other than saying "Do the Bartman." I don't really remember him ever wearing this costume. I think there's
Right.
maybe once in that episode where him and Milhouse and Martin fight over the Radioactive Man comic. I feel like that might be the only time he's been Bartman. And then they just thought they would expand on that. What I will say is that I don't think it is a job for Batman. I don't think this non-superpowered 10-year-old boy who has put on a hood and a cape is prepared to deal with a nuclear fallout. And I don't think he would think that in this situation either.
Well, I know someone who would beg to differ. Me.
Is it Bartman?
So cut back just before the moments earlier at the nuclear power plant. Woo! Homer is waving his arms. Mom, that was the real itchy and scratchy. I'm afraid they might do something terrible to the power plant. Maybe we should leave. Not try and stop them anyway. Just leave. No, Lisa, there's nothing to be worried about. Those are just actors. Even though for the third time we state that their costumes are quite convincing. Valumfa, it's a classic. That's a classic image. And then, we see the mushroom cloud flying. Oh, I agree, light-headed, says Marge. What's happening to me? Oh, I can feel the power. I can feel my body bursting with power, says HJ. And then other
Homer.
towns we hear other people of the town saying, I've been charged with fantastic power, that weird glow, etc., etc. It's not a bad image. I don't think it quite nails
No,
what they
they
could
could have
have,
done
although
more.
the one tooth Marge is good.
Yeah, oh yes, Bucktooth Margie. They could have done more with that crowd. I do like the one above it, the Vahumpcha one with
Oh
the
yeah,
silhouettes of the
that's
Simpsons.
it's good.
But to say that like we said about Troy and Burns and stuff, to double down on having everyone in town here, to
Yeah,
then have the entire crowd be anonymous people is unusual, considering that the rest of the issue will go on to explore a lot of different characters' superpowers.
indeed.
Then we have Bartman swinging across a very bland city. The first draft of an image of a city. Man, this is weird. Zooming across an empty city towards a huge mushroom cloud. This is like something out of an issue of Radioactive Man. He thinks. I don't. It's strange that he's swinging like Spider-Man without the powers of him. Like,
Where does he
what's he
swing in
swinging on?
even from? And that's
Yeah,
always the Spider-Man thing, though, isn't it? It's like, hold on, the buildings are at the side of you. How are you? What are you swinging? But let's not ask. Let's not dig
yeah.
too much into that. That's a superhero trope, so acceptable.
Yeah, it's fine to be used in a parody style, I would say. What's that up ahead? It almost looks like all of this is in his head.
Yes,
No, it couldn't be. I Carumba, of course, says a very, very close up, very face forward Bart man.
that's fun though.
That
That's a
is a
fun
good one. I
fast
like
forward
that.
part.
I like that little just the circular nose.
Yeah.
Something quite fun about it. Yeah, very easy page.
All
And
right,
then
but now we've got the actual real deal, where a bunch
I'm
of
sorry. I need a wee. I'm very sorry. Would you like to describe the page while I go for a wee?
no, that's right.
B&B.
So Bart reveals, we zoom out to reveal a bunch of new costumed super characters. It's the inevitable result of a nuclear explosion, he ironically says. And yes, we have Apu as some kind of speedster. We have a great Marge as Medusa, which is one of, as we well know, one of the Inhumans. We have kind of a Vampirella, kind of Edna, Clayface as Diamond Joe is as Clayface. We've got some kind of Scottish superhero of the Willy, and some is he Pigman from
He called me Chief Pigum.
Chief Piggum. We've got Homer as some kind of big Hulk. We do have Ned in his kind of a fruity kind of costume, and I don't know who this is up here as a flyman.
I think it's Lenny.
Maybe Otto is definitely not Blotto. We have a clone, Troy McClure. Lisa appears to be once again the absolute worst, and the only thing she can do is blow slime from her saxophone. An awesome Barney. In some sort of, I think he's one of the Jack Kirby Fourth World. What was it? I can't remember which one he is, but he's one of the Dark Side kind of adjacent characters, and
Yeah, Barney seems to have the coolest costume of everybody.
he does. So what's his name? This guy, I think, Orion.
Oh yeah, I can
I think
see.
it's sort of a version of one of those, which is quite a nice deep cut if that's what they're going for. Maybe not though. And Yeah, Burns has some generic, looking a lot like what's his name, John Malkovich. All that
I think it's
stuff.
Mr. Largo.
That makes more sense. Makes no
Burns
sense.
is
None of it makes any sense.
in a helicopter somewhere.
Right? I've been saying Burns.
And I believe Herman is behind him, which are, yeah, two very strange characters to make this spread over the likes of Lenny, Carl, Moe, Milhouse, Martin, Krusty.
Indeed. But it's quite a good double page spread, which we were seeing as two single pages, which makes it better in many ways.
It does in many ways. It's yeah, it's a fine one. I like, and by fine it, I mean so far probably the best image they've produced.
Oh yeah,
They
it's
did
brilliant.
release, for some reason, they released a 3 pack of action figures from this issue. So they have
Right.
an Apu, an Edna, and a Homer in their like costumes for
Oh,
just a really. I think they intended to do more of them and then didn't sell too well, so they didn't do anybody else.
it's a
But
strange choice, isn't it? But I mean, it's a cool choice. There's a whole host of really good characters. I wouldn't be surprised if you can get a poster of this one.
yeah, it seems, and they could have easily done this for like, like 20 issues like they do in comics, like
Hmm.
a full real arc. If they'd done it later or had it as like a spin-off comic, it could have worked. Could have worked like that and explore everybody as actual superheroes for a bit.
Oh yeah.
It,
But
it
anyway,
works fine just for one issue.
he does indeed. So that's but Bart now has to deal with the fact that everybody other than him is a not only are they a superhero, but also it seems to have messed with their minds as well.
Yeah, it seems to have turned them into like stock superhero characters or villains, like not
Yeah,
themselves. Oh yes, and then Bart says, "Got to remember to protect my secret identity," and then refers to his own mother as Mrs. Simpson. What's going on, Mrs. Simpson? Why are you dressed like some kind of costumed kook, as if the mask and the cape are going to do anything? And it does work. Mrs. Simpson, she says, there is no Mrs. Simpson. There is only the Entangler. And then Marge, in a very cool image, tangles Bart all up in her hair. And
that
she seems
face.
to be a villain, which is a very fun idea. Super cool Marge. That would have been a cool figure.
Yeah,
Uh, Yikes, my own mom has become as snarly and short-tempered as a real comic book super character. Super character? That's very inclusive.
very
And then
good.
she lobs her own unsuperpowered son into a wall. Yow, he shouts. Thoof, fwick. I'm liking the words that are being used in this
Yeah,
issue
very
to
Batman.
describe. Yes, it is. It's very, very Batman. And then a cool setup for the next page is Batman looking absolutely terrified and the silhouette of his looming father over him. So
His
we know that we're about to
rage-filled
see.
Incredible Hulk style father.
Yes, I don't know if they've all turned into villains. I don't know if any of them are good. In hindsight, I think they might have all turned into they're all trying to hurt each other.
Why would that have happened? Why would it have given them superpowers and also made them bad?
No idea, but it adds slightly more conflict to them. It's not really if everybody just got superpowers and became heroes, and that's not really a problem you need to fix.
Not really, except for you've seen the boys, right?
I have, but they are not necessarily great people.
No, there's good
You-
people on both sides.
I disagree.
What
There's
about
nothing wrong with that.
the idea of, how the disguise doesn't work? Did you see that? I think, what was his name? Either the new Superman, I think it's the new Superman. What's his name? David Cornstarch. He
Yes.
he said like, obviously it's absolutely ridiculous. So and maybe Henry Cavill because he's more famous, right? And he's like, this is the idea of Clark Kent is just ridiculous. Just absolutely no one would fall for it. So he just parted his hair and put the glasses on and walked through the middle of Times Square, and literally nobody bothered him. Where he just either before or after he walked through normally and was like, bothered by loads and loads of people, and he
Oh yeah,
literally
there
just
was actually some sort of, and I don't know if it must be a reference to the comics, but they did in this new Superman movie, they did make a point of saying the glasses have some kind of cloaking
oh
effect.
yeah, that's garbage.
But there is also a picture of Alan Carr that came out recently where it sort of proves that exact point that it does work. There's a picture of
Right.
Alan Carr in like a sports cap and like a tracksuit top and no glasses. And it's described as he looks like the exact kind of person who would hate Alan Carr.
Ironically, he does.
He does.
But
You're up.
I am. So we get Homer now all green and Incredible Hulk, and he's rah, me, I'm the ingestible bulk, boo. And Bartman says, I should have known. He's quick enough to jump out of the way, and he says, Greer holds still bite-sized purple one. And now trying to eat his own son that has just been thrown against a wall. But thankfully, he's made of sterner stuff, and he says, You made bulk mad, pointy head, and the angrier Hulk gets, the hungrier. Bulk gets Bulk, not Hulk. Bulk ganache, which and then a big chomp, which is of course all
That's
Incredible
the end.
Hulk references.
That's the end of the comic. Homer has eaten the only human, his human son.
And,
That's
and
the end of Bart
as
Simpson.
the blood and floppily doppel is drained down his chin, that's the next 16 pages of him slowly eating but licking the bones clean.
Yes, and then they lose their powers and they spend 4 more issues dealing with what they've done.
Trauma. Very good.
Yes.
That's all saved for the radioactive man part of this story.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, he takes a bite out of the wall. Crunch it, and Bart decides, oh, I got to chew. While he's got something to chew on, I got to get out of here, make like a tree and get out of here. And he runs into what I imagine is his shitty superpowered sisters, like Saxon before him gone.
Indeed. That sound and dazzling light I can barely see, says Batman, struggling to keep his eyes open. Oh no,
Good image.
it is a good image. I like when they have their eyes kind of like when the yellow eyelids are visible. It is Lisa and that stupid saxophone. Lisa is dressed in full sort of like jazz ensemble get-up, and she is sternly blowing a saxophone. Oh man, get with it. You're digging the jazzler, which is quite a good name.
Well, it's a play
My
on Dazzler, isn't it? The Marvel superhero that Taylor Swift was rumored to be playing in the upcoming movie. Do you know
Oh
Dazzler?
yeah, I do. I know her from that exact story. She's just a superhero who sings, isn't she?
She's a disco superhero.
Yes, almost certainly going to be played by Sydney Sweeney, not Taylor Swift.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney is now the Pedro Pascal of
Of
female
that. Fair
actresses.
enough. I'd go for that. I wouldn't be against that.
Yeah, it fits. She's also a Spider-Man lady or whatever.
Yeah,
My
it doesn't
axe
matter.
is, it does not matter. My axe is like my voice you dig. It's how I express my truth, my pain, my inner howl. Lisa, it's still not really established what the superpower is, other than she's dressed like a jazz musician.
That's not superpower.
Yikes, that's not a superpower. Yikes, she could go on like this for hours, but at least while she's talking, she can't play, thinks Bart out of his crotch.
Right to the back of his leg.
Yes. Woof. Another great word panel. And then we have a fantastic Wolverine-esque grandpa, I would say. Or is
I
there
don't know. He's got iron arms and he's got this big, like a big kind of metal thing. I don't know what he was referring to. Can't quite work that out.
it kind of looks like Wolverine's mask, but in shoulder form,
He does a
but it's
little bit.
probably something different to that. Grandpa, says Bart, dropping his alibi or his, character. Better watch out who you call Grandpa, you darn whippersnapper. I'm full of vim and vinegar. I got superpowers to spur, and I'm spoiling for a fight. And then he unfortunately falls asleep mid-sentence, which is a shame because I would have liked to see a superpowered Grandpa just villainize the entire town, just take over.
Yeah,
Now he
probably.
has some semblance of strength.
But we do get, he doesn't actually fall asleep. We shout, Bart shouts, or someone shouts, Coma, wake up, Coma. Is that his special name? He's Coma.
Apparently.
Wazza? Oh yeah, and then he points out his people from the retirement home. We got the old Jewish guy and Jasper, and I don't know the two women now, but the mole man looking one is brilliant. She's got also a kind of Medusa or character that is, but one of the
Marge.
she got like the Margie thing going on for sure. These are my teammates, Bedpan. That's Badpan to you, you old codger. He's Coma. I'm Codger, Fogey, and Vague.
Are they reference other than Rogue? I'm not getting any of those for. Maybe Batman for
Batman,
Batman.
Batman, maybe.
And then yeah, I don't know what Fogey must be something. Oh, like old Fogey, I get it. But it must be like, is it like Phoenix?
I don't know. So that I think
Is it
this is
really a
Marvel Girl. I
name?
think this is like the Marvel Girl, which is the original costume of Jean Grey. I think,
Oh,
but
you got Phoenix then.
I mean, maybe. So Rogue and Phoenix and Homer and Codger. I don't.
It does feel a bit X-Men-ish, this specific part,
Yeah.
like Grandpa with the Wolverine thing that I'm sticking with. And the only one I can't really, you could add a push, say that Crazy Old Man is Juggernaut. But I'm lost for Grandpa. No,
He's
Jasper.
doing like a Jedi kind of thing.
Yeah, and I like that he still has to have a walking stick,
It
Jasper.
seems like someone who sort of knows some comics, but really doesn't know a lot of them. Because and also I guess maybe for copyright they've decided not to stray too close.
Oh,
You ever see the original Cerebus?
the aardvark.
Yes, the comics. He started bringing in characters that literally were like Wolverine, and he got in quite a lot of trouble. So he had a character. I remember what the character was called, but he started off as a kind of generic, kind of like a generic like superhero kind of thing. And then these are a bit different. Like, and these are much later, but he definitely does the one where he then started dressing this character up in all sort of like very specific superhero references, mainly Wolverine, and I'm pretty sure he got sued for it.
But yeah, my argument was going to be that I imagine this is someone who quite likes superhero comics, the Vances maybe, but they were firmly told or chose to, like not tread too strong of a ground.
Yeah, he's got a Moon Knight one there. Yeah, but it's cool anyway. But and he did a good job because Sim, as much as we may not like the cut of his jib, definitely can draw cool superhero parodies.
You can parodies. I believe it is me.
You can do it. It's fine.
And Grandpa continues, or coma, if you will, in 4 panels that aren't really necessary. It could have been one panel. Saved himself some time.
Another reference. So Youngblood is the Rob Liefeld Image comic, and it's a kind
When
of
is that
crap.
from?
That's maybe around that year. It might
Oh yeah.
87, 92. So the Image Comics, which is Todd McFarlane and things like they were kind of like a 90s extreme. So there you go. They're wearing exactly the same costumes as the Youngblood, but for some reason he sounds like he's given them X-Men style names. But maybe that was the name of the Youngblood character. So
Oh no,
it's
yeah. There you go. I saw one called Vogue though.
Bad Rock, Vogue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There we
All
go
right.
then.
So there you go. So it's a reference to the Rob
What is the
Liefeld
main? What is the main character called? Oh, Bad Rock. There you go.
Pentagon
Deadpan.
and Bad Rock.
But there is no coma.
I mean, it was huge, right? He left. I guess it was the biggest one of along with Spawn. It was one of the biggest Image comic ones. So it was a good thing to parody at this time.
Yeah, it does seem like they know some references. They just probably don't want to, push it too far. Anyway, Grandpa says they think he's fallen asleep again because he's paused. I wasn't sleeping, I was pausing for dramatic effect. Now you've spoiled it. As I was saying, together we're called Old Blood. And then we get to the bullies. Pretty stupid name, man, says Dr. Zoidberg Jimbo. Oh, not another pack of brats, says Grandpa. And they are setting up for a fight. Close, man, we're called Wild Brats. Wild, bullying, rowdy adolescent team. I don't know what that is, but I like the
Well,
costumes.
Wildcats is another
Oh,
Image comic. I think that might have been a Jim Lee one. So as you can see, but oh yeah, it's the same. It's the same characters. Like they've got, but the Zoidberg thing is interesting because Zoidberg hadn't been invented at that point, right?
correct. And also, oh yeah, there is a character there on the left who has that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
Zoidberg
yeah,
face.
yeah.
So,
I don't know the names of anything. I really didn't like those comics. I thought they were really crappy. Like even the worst Marvel kind of action ones, I could still jump on board with, but these ones, just look like absolutely generic rip-offs with loads of fighting.
I see. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with these superheroes, but I very much like those 4 characters' designs. That Jimbo, I don't think I've ever really noticed that Jimbo before, and
Mm.
it is top tier stuff. But yeah, we're just absolutely battering through page after page of setup. This is who I am. This is my power. Goodbye.
So I mean, at the point being, I guess there's just going to be a bit of a fight, and they'll stop Itchy and Scratchy from going into to melting down the core, and then they'll jump off to the third part of the story. I can't imagine it's setting up
Well,
much more than that.
the core has already been destroyed, hence
Oh,
the superpowers being
that's true.
granted to everybody.
All right, so
I
we got a
like that.
nice.
Oh, it's just a cape over his face,
All
or
right.
like a tissue. It's not actually like tentacles.
But anyway, so we've got Wildcats versus Youngblood, the old blood versus the something something. Come on, old blood, let's show these puerile pups who's the top team in this part. Hey, hey Slacker, remind me again why we're fighting these guys. Because we got superpowers. Maul. What else are you going to do besides fight? This is a very good one of like what they would do in comics when they did want to introduce the characters' names, and they would like really shoehorn in awful ways to try and get them to say either their own name or the name of somebody else. It used to be maybe even as a fairly small kid, I was like, that's awful. Where it's like, hey, and I'm Slacker, and this is my friend Cowboy Joe, and it's like. There's like they just have a bad habit of introducing themselves.
Yeah, there is an unnaturalness to it, and it is just, especially in this case,
That's ruining this
just
children's comic for me.
it's just battering out as many as possible is seems to be the goal of this issue. Was probably the key goal was I want everybody to be a superhero and I
Which is
want to
fun,
see them
right?
all. It is. It's just this is, and again, it's spread across three issues, but I'm pretty sure that the third one doesn't really have anybody other than Bart and Radioactive Man.
Ah,
And
yeah,
it's all Radioactive Man characters for the most part. So
that's
this
cool.
is the only issue. So even though it's a three-fer, they only spend one issue really showing you all these superheroes.
No, and I'm guessing once they're set up, like once they're done, even in Bongoland, we never see them again.
No, that is accurate.
It's too bad because there's some cool ones, even though they are, very clearly like quite poor parodies of a terrible comic.
But we don't
Let's
actually.
for these guys, Simpleton, you got it, Switchblade. That is exactly the kind of shit they would have gone down in those 80s comics.
Yeah, I do like the face-off sort of trope, though. Like the image itself, like having heroes line up against each other to fight
Oh, that's
is kind of fun.
an absolutely
Yeah,
classic trope, isn't it? Of and they're all kind of more or less one to one, and
yeah,
like I know it's supposed to be some sort of perspective, but perspective doesn't really work that way. And I'm also like they just happen to be the same size as each other, so they're kind of like across from each other.
yeah. I think it's I don't mind it at all. I like
Oh,
it very much.
oh man, everyone in this town except me gets superpowers, and I'm the one who winds up in the middle. Wah wah wah, says Bartman with a creeping yellow stain across his troon.
Took him a while to figure that out.
He does, and he also said it at least once before. But anyway,
Meanwhile, and now we're on a very weird, we've taken a very strange turn to a like a map style situation. I can't think of what you would call like a radar map. And it says tracking, and there is a button that says rockets. And then the next one, additional targets tracking. Now there are four targets instead of one, rockets. And then locked on one specific target, fire rockets, button pushed. It is revealed to be Itchy in an attack helicopter firing rockets at Scratchy, which
brilliant.
are missing him entirely as he screams. Look at again the joy on Itchy's face. But this line of actual bullets is headed right towards the 10-year-old protagonist without superpowers on a backgroundless Springfield.
Although you say backgroundless, which it is, but I do think that bright pink sky and the shadows of the buildings is quite effective.
It's not bad. I hadn't realized that's what those that they were buildings. Embarrassingly, now I see it.
How embarrassing. Anyway, so now we're running back in and just basically just pointlessly running around with lots of superheroes. Your wild rats incoming. What in tarnation, says the old man. And
They've kind of lost Kearney as well, and he's just Michael Jackson's character. Like because they've clearly biggified Kearney,
yeah.
biggened him.
Bigger.
They've sort of lost that it's Kearney. You can only tell that's Kearney based on the fact that he's with the other bullies.
That's true. I hope somebody lost an etc. And so
Exactly.
Scratchy is running, his tail is on fire. Bartman leaps out of the way of the bullets just in time. Excuse me, bad man, but I think that's my cue to exit. He uses the old man's bald head as a leaping thing. Jumps up to some ladders in some very good athletic stuff for someone who I would often imagine as a child being able to do that. And but I never was able to leap that. Just couldn't leap that far without powers.
You would also need the head of a bald man
I
with
know, and I
some.
never very few of those to be found in the 1970s/80s. Bart jumps up, man, this is getting out of hand. I've got to take a minute to think, and he's just about to grab one of those emergency ladders.
Some questionable sound dialogue.
Wunsch and etc.
Bart is now stood on a corner rooftop in a very Batman-esque or Spider-Man-esque way. Has the world gone crazy, he thinks. First Itchy and Scratchy jump out of our TV, in case you forgot. And now Springfield is overrun by a bunch of costumed weirdos, in case you forgot, all beating the stuffing out of each other. A panel that we did not need. Then he's looking down, and it's just, you can just sort of see carnage going on.
The
A little
second
bit.
time they've used that clip of static to fill up a big space.
Yes. I don't really know what it's supposed to imply. Is it a television?
I've
I
no idea,
guess
but
it's
it
like,
definitely to me it says I don't have enough time to do this.
yes, come on, Cindy, we've got a vacation to go on.
Staycation.
I guess it's like they say in the comics, with great power comes even greater irresponsibility. Absolute boo.
Absolute garbage.
I can't really tell who those two superheroes are supposed to be, or villains, if you will. The nondescript Springfielders in a panel that could have used two very specific Springfielders.
Yeah, and
Seems like a waste.
specific superhero parodies, and I know quite a few superheroes, but I certainly don't recognize those unless, of course, they're more shitty image characters.
Exactly. And then across from Bart's thinking roof, we can see, I'm going to just call him Chief Piggum. He called me Chief Piggum. And then Barney and one of the Troys, as there are three, all fighting each other for fun. What am I going to do? I'm the only normal person left. I'm sure he's just said that. The only one standing between Springfield and utter chaos if I don't. And then he has a thought. Huh? My brain, it's tingling like some sort of sixth sense. As Troy seems to be beating the shit out of Barney and Wiggum. Wiggum's gone down with a plop. And Barney's taking a punch to the face. And also there are now three Troys as Bart leaps from the roof, again powerless. I have the strangest feeling that I need to get home right away.
And for the third. The third use of that static panel, are they going to explain that reference, or are they really just like, hey, we just really didn't have enough time to draw an image in here, like not even some like shitty knocked off Itchy and Scratchy kind of like coming soon kind of thing.
I think I know what's happened here. I
Please.
think I have a vague memory. I think it's one of those. Do you know where you'd get like a lens viewer
Yeah,
to put over it and it would show you a secret image.
yeah,
I think that's what it is. So I think, like you would get like 3D glasses,
yeah.
and if you put it over this grey, it would show you I have a very sort of clear
We get vague memory of
idea
that.
of that happening, not specifically with this comic, but that as an idea. Like these grey static panels revealing an image underneath if you
Okay.
put like a viewer over it.
Is it a magic eye thing, you think?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
I know
It's the
Magic Eye doesn't need the viewer, but anyway, so yeah, I mean that makes more sense than I was puzzled that they would be that short on time that they would simply just slap some
yeah.
static on there. So
Well, the first one made sense because it was on the television,
yes,
so I didn't question it. But then, yes, the second and third in this short of a succession sparked a memory in me.
can we not only dispense with backgrounds but also with foregrounds?
Indeed.
So Bart's swinging across. He says, "At least things look normal at home, but what do I know?" We get these shot close up his face are pretty good. Ay caramba, a flying saucer parked in the Flanders backyard. That could explain a lot. Surely we're going to get an alien slash superhero mode at this point. I always suspected Flanders was an alien, and it's like let's fill half a page with this very nondescript flying saucer.
Yeah, it's a nicely designed one, but it's not within the realm of the Simpsons whatsoever.
We're almost
I can't believe
there.
that. I know. I thought there was way more of it. Can't see anything from here. Just going to guess I'm just gonna have to get closer. Thinks Bart as he approaches a spaceship in his neighbor's garden as if nothing is wrong. And he's inside of the spaceship. Looks like nobody's here. Maybe I can find a clue or something. He thinks. Man, this is kind of creepy. Sometimes being a hero isn't easy, he says as he has done nothing of any difficulty. Hey. And then he finds a scratchy head mask, like a mascot head. A scratchy mask like the guy at Krusty Land wears. what is it doing here? And a very suspicious tentacle is appearing right up behind him.
We talked about Daft Punk before when they have this fake human heads. Have you seen that?
I like Frank Sidebottom.
No, the movie Electroma, which is the Daft Punk movie, which I really like, and where they put fake human heads over the top of their robot heads.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'm not
It's
not
very
familiar with that.
very cool. Electroma. It's actually a very good movie, which people don't talk about very much, but because almost nothing happens in it, but it's basically just the two robots from Daft Punk wandering around like almost aimlessly for about an hour and a half, and at one point put on fake human heads, and that's it's great. But anyway, so that's what it reminded me of. And yes, behold, Kodos lunch. Lunch for 40 humans. Yikes. And Bart drops the head, and it is revealed that maybe it was a costume all along, but not just an actor. It was Kang and Kodos dressed as Itchy and Scratchy for some inexplicable reason. To be continued in Batman 3. So have you read Batman 3?
I believe I have at the time, yes. And then I looked at it briefly the other day to see to just try and I couldn't really, I didn't pay enough attention, work out what the hell was going on at first.
No, so
I,
spoiler, is it explained? Does it make sense that Kang and Kodos were behind this whole thing, or is it the real Itchy and Scratchy, etc.?
I have absolutely no idea how Kang and Kodos play into things. Bear in mind that when we looked at, have we looked at it yet? The one where Flanders, I don't think we've looked at it. We looked at it in the mod situation, but where he goes missing in the woods.
Hmm.
Flanders goes like missing in the woods, and then
Yeah.
that's revealed to be like Sideshow Bob and Kang and Kodos.
Hmm.
And that's like one of the first 10 issues of the comic, so the fact that they did this twice within the first 10 issues is a lot of fun. No idea what the role in it is. All I remember is that Maggie is sort of the Professor X, like psychic character who can basically do anything. And I believe she just resets it she just sends, they go back to before the blast happens so they can stop Itchy and Scratchy.
Ah.
It's your bog standard ending, but I definitely remember there being more superheroes than that. So maybe there were quite a few in the Bart Simpson comic. I think it's just called Bart Simpson. Oh no, check. Oh yeah, indeed.
Indubitably.
It was issue 3, I believe.
Yeah, how many do they do? Not many. 6. Do you think we
Yeah,
like
no,
when we get into the bongos, do you think we should just do like a run of all the Batman and all of the shorter ones?
sure. When we finish the 280,
We don't have to, I mean, we don't have to go. I mean, I think I don't think it's just a scan. I think there's a marked improvement in quality in the cartoon here. Maybe it is just a scan though.
maybe it looks a lot more detailed, doesn't it? Like they've put a lot
Yeah,
more effort.
it certainly does look like way more. And but it's Vance and Morrison again, so it's exactly the same people. So there'd be absolutely no reason why these would have been more detailed. I'm just taking it down to be a better scan, maybe. A
Indeed.
digital version. So there we go, and there we have it.
Just scroll down to see, have a quick look at the superheroes that we missed, but I also can't see. Now I can see.
Superheroes in here, yeah. So you got the Spotty Teen is dressed as Itchy and Scratchy. Yeah, it's the same people. Millhouse has come back as the Scarlet Pimpernel.
That's
Bart
fine.
seems to have some sort of additional superpower. And then yeah, it looks like he manages to somehow bring Radioactive Man, and I guess is the P. I guess that means that the Wigan was a reference to a Radioactive Man character.
Who knows? Maybe.
Who knows? Oh, the little fly guy was Mo.
Oh, nice. He's called Barfly. Interesting.
Fly, yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm looking forward to reading this one fine day where we got to Smithers essentially just straight up dressed as Thor,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they're not introducing any new ones here. I guess the twins, Janie and Splaney, are dressed as a Wonder Woman parodies. We get a little bit more Vampirella in the form of Edna, and
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
better. Then I think like a big-headed Maggie at some point.
Spoiler, at some point, I guess they kind of reverse some shit and a big-headed Maggie at some point, which is great. And that's the end,
It
So
is
that's
a great look into superheroes, which is inevitable if they were going to. It's surprising that it took them, what's this, 5, 6
Well, if you think about it, they did like an intro and then a couple of comic book sort of parodies, and then they basically it makes sense that this is basically the end of their first year, and they've launched three comics. So to do kind of a crossover is perfect for a comic, but also in a kind of meta thing of like that's what comics would do at this point.
Yeah, it does. It works. I like
Yeah,
it.
I read so many of those shitty. I mean, I love those kind of shitty comics where they only did like four or five issues, and it like inevitably there's crossovers. Like after issue two ones, yeah, once the ratings start to plummet, there's just they're just it's all out desperation to bring in any sort of crossover or any kind of other thing, and I don't know if they planned on Bartman or Bart Simpson comic, well, Bartman comic being a limited six, but if not, yeah, by the time they hit issue three or four, this is where they're like, yeah, if we don't do some shit here, we're done for. Because I don't think Itchy and Scratchy made it much further than three or four
No,
issues.
I think
So,
all of them. I think Batman, Radioactive Man, and Itchy and Scratchy all did six.
yeah, so it could be that that's just a limited arc, and they were just like, well, we'll try it, and if it takes off, but didn't. So, but I think maybe after we've done 10 bongos or 15 bongos, we might want to do a run of the six of the kind of do the whole itch and scratch or whatever in one foul swoop. Maybe not after 10, but maybe 20 or 30 bongos,
Yes, we'll come to
5 years.
it one day because we've also got the Trace of Horror ones as well, which are incredible. Probably the
So
best
many.
bongos.
Well, we've got we might as well just do those for Halloween because we've got like a billion years of
It's-
episodes to do.
It'd
Bongos are
take us
fun. I don't know if it's fun
do
for anyone
20,
else, but it's
22
absolutely
years worth of Halloweens if we did that.
I ain't got nowhere to be.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun little world where they can get away with basically whatever they want without having to go through any sort of checks or
No, certainly
quality
not.
assurance.
Not at all. And God salute him. And it's too bad that Bongo hung on for a long, long time, but eventually, cancellation comes to them all.
Exactly. It may one day return, but it's not likely.
No.
Back, 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 back,